All right, so here we go. It is Monday, January 24th, and my name is Dee Korchin. Really glad we're here together tonight. Nice to see so many of you guys on here, Coaches Opt for Change, coming together every Monday night for community, for what she just talked about, that meeting, that purpose, that gathering of like-minded individuals. And it really is such an important part of what it is that we offer. So excited tonight that we're going to spend some time on building community. Why is it so important, and how can we each play a part in doing that? We do a lot of our community online. We do a lot of it virtually in environments like this. We have online conferences. And in fact, I just want to do one quick reminder as we're getting started that this Saturday, January 29th, Dr. A and Dan Bell are leading New You in 2022. It's important for you to know that first hour from 12 to 1 is for you to be able to invite people to come and learn from Dr. A and Dan about the integrity of our program, the results of our program, as well as the business model, and a lot of examples of how busy people are choosing to coach and all of the benefits of it. So if you've got people on your heart, people that don't live in your area that you want to bring and actually have them learn from the best, that's going to be a great environment. And then from 1 o'clock on is a coach only event, which is a learning experience for us on how to grow ourselves in 2022. Nominal fee for that, it's like $22.85. You do need to register, and all of the details are in Coaches Opt for Change. But did you guys see the pictures that were taken, that we posted from this week's event in Atlanta? We had one of our regional events. Yes. Awesome. Well, who wishes, maybe, drop a 1 in the comment, but who wishes you lived in this area and could attend events like this? Because they're quite spectacular. Look at that. Yeah. Well, very good. Well, what I want to do is a quick poll just to see, what kind of in-person events have you participated in? Because I know it's kind of different for all of us, but let's kind of get a feel for the room. Let me launch this here. And this is a poll where you can choose multiple answers. So what has been your in-person community event experience? So you check off as many as apply. You've attended convention at least once. You've attended a larger event like the regional ones we have here in Atlanta. You've done a coach event like Awaken, Business Momentum, or Integration we had in December. You've had or you hosted a smaller event like a Healthy Happy Hour. This would be something that you would do like in your community. And then if you wish you had more events in your area. So good. Look at that, Beth Campbell. I checked all but 1. Beautiful. Good. All right, so a lot of us have seen and experienced. Let me pop this up so you guys can see the results. I've been to all but a Healthy Happy Hour. Beautiful. Okay, here was the results. So how awesome is this as a team, you guys? 74% of us have attended like convention. Woo woo. I was just telling some of the global directors, I attended a meeting last week about convention this year. It is going to be off the chains. It's in Atlanta in July, and what they have planned for us is spectacular. So definitely want to be a part of that and qualifying for every special event you can in that. And then a huge percentage of us have been in our regional events. And I love it. Like 48% of us, about half of us, have attended or hosted something like a Healthy Happy Hour. And most of us wish we had more community. So that is why we're here tonight. Because just like the woman said on the TED Talk, community is such an integral part of what it is that we have to offer. And we're really living in a world that people are craving that. And it's a way that we can serve in our communities, that we can help share this mission and share what's possible. And is great. I think Lucy Ward and I talked about this weekend, like as great as the regional event was, and we were sitting in rows, honestly, a lot more connection. They talk about this at my church. They say, rows or circles are better than rows. And a small circle of people can have a really huge impact. And I see some people nodding their heads. So what we're going to spend some time tonight talking about is helping you see the possibility of how you could actually host either yourself or with other coaches in your area, if they're there, host some events or an event to see what that feels like and start to build that community. So I'm going to have Lisa Bloom come on here for a minute, because Lisa came on board and really embraced this as a way to build her business. So Lisa, are you on?
I'm here, Dee. Yes, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for inviting me to share tonight about events, because as I look back over my Optavia history, what's interesting to me is I did a lot of events, and I attended an event, Dee, at your clubhouse. It was a lean and green. It was a potluck. There were a lot of coaches there and a few clients, and some people there just kind of saying, hey, what is this Optavia all about? And I walked away thinking, yeah, maybe I could do this. So that was kind of fun. And then I remember pretty clearly my first event, and Dee offered to help, and I just invited people to my house. Dee gave me some guidelines and basically said, keep it simple. It was a small, intimate setting in my living room and kitchen. People told their stories, and I'm going to tell you in a minute who I invited and how. But it was really powerful and special, because Dee told her story and I told my story, and then everybody kind of went around the room. And what I remember from my events is that every single event I had either resulted in a client or a coach or both, and sometimes more than one of each. And the smaller events were so powerful because I think people felt that community in a different way. We have community online, we have community at convention, we have some of these bigger events, but there's something really different and special and intimate about being inside of someone's home. And I remember the first virtual event, we had a health and hope night. And back then it wasn't as frequent, but it came out, and I don't know, I think Dee, you and I met on Monday or Tuesday, and you said, well, what about this thing on Thursday night? And I said, oh, it's Tuesday. I don't think I can do that. And then we hung up the phone and I said, oh, I can do that. And I started inviting people, and I had probably 10 or 12 people come to my house Thursday night, same setting, very simple drinks, a little lean and green appetizers, some, cut up bar samples. And then we showed the health and hope from Dr. A. So that's available to us now even more. But I know, and I'm curious, so with COVID, right, all of that shut down. So what I'd like to see in the chat, if you became a coach post quarantine, post March of 2020, put a 2 in the chat, because I think that there are a lot of you out there who didn't even think about doing a smaller event. And a lot of you out there who've been living through the last couple of years and not really seeing this as a possibility. And I can tell you, the small events have even the virtual events. So when I first moved to Wisconsin 15 months ago, not long after I moved here, I hosted a virtual health and hope night. And it was filled with, thankfully, my coaches and one person who was a neighbor who wanted to learn more about the program. And she ultimately became a client. So it was interesting to me. What surprised me was the people who showed up, people that I never would have thought would show up. But what I did was I reached out to everybody in multiple ways. And there were people that came because they didn't want to interact on social media. They didn't really want to get on the phone, or maybe I didn't really know them as well. They were kind of peripherally in my circle, and they came with somebody that they knew or they had heard more about it, and they just preferred to show up in somebody's home. So a couple of times I created a Facebook event where I invited people to the Facebook event. I called, I texted, I Facebook messaged people. So I used a variety of ways of inviting and following up. And then I just sort of let it go out in the universe and waited to see who would show up. And I remember one night I invited about 250 people, and it was always 10 to 12 people who showed up, 10 to 12. And again, it was a mix of existing coaches, existing clients, and people who were curious. And they came out to find out more. And then not only did they get the presentation part, if you will, they got to step aside and talk one-on-one with a coach or a client and say, well, what was this like for you? And it's just such a different experience when you do it that way. So start thinking now, about hosting an event in your home. And I said, I checked every box, including the one, I wish I had more events in my area because there aren't a lot here in Wisconsin, where I live, but I'm about to change that. So.
Awesome. Thank you, Lisa. That was
You're welcome.
great. And if anything specific Lisa said resonated, drop that in the comments. I'm going to be honest with you, you guys. I mean, Lisa kind of nailed it. It's the small events, and some of us who came in 2020 and beyond don't realize that. And what we're doing, these regional events, they're kind of old school. Like they're old school, like across the country right now. Everybody is doing small health and hope nights, and a couple of different things you could do. You could do like a lean and green night where you invite some of your local clients over. They can invite guests, you invite your neighbors, etc. It could be a healthy happy hour. It could be a community walk. You could just gather people. And I'm going to have Julie Apple speak in a bit because she's done a large variety of things. It doesn't have to be in your home. Right. But very often, like just that intimate experience of that is what's so welcoming to people. And that might freak you out. You might be starting to get some palpitations right now. And I get that. But I will be honest, when I was building my business, and I was like, okay, I've got to do something to connect with more people. I made a commitment and held like 3 in a row. And the attendance varied from like 5 people one time. One time I had 19 people. That was like buzzing, and the space was really small. And then one time there was a tornado warning within minutes of doing it. And I had one person, and she was a friend of mine. And I really thought she was humoring me. Right. So I'm just making small talk and whatever. And finally she goes, "Are you ever going to tell me about the program? That's why I came." Yeah. So you just never know. But I always know that action begets results. Action begets action. And so like Lisa said, you could be, inviting, a bunch of people, get 3 people at the event. Even if none of them sign up or become a coach at that moment, you will see growth in your business. It just always, always happens. So we're going to give you some tools. We actually created like a checklist. If you are going to host an event, like some examples and exactly what you do. And what I'm going to do is just show you for a second what that looks like. But I'll post it. I'm sorry, let me just get rid of this. I will post it when I post the results. I may not be able to get to that. But basically we want to keep it as simple as possible. And I think one thing Lisa said was really true is managing expectations. We invite a lot, and on this checklist has examples of who to invite. You invite a lot. You can expect about a 10% response to just your regular invites, that like out of 10 people, 1 would attend. So we have to be realistic. But if you do really good follow-up with it, you can increase that statistic to about 20%. Lucy Ward, you are a fairly new coach, and I know you had an event at your home recently, and I would love just to hear you share about that experience for a minute or two.
Sure. Actually, what Lisa did literally is almost verbatim of what I did. I remember commenting on one of my mentor calls with Lauren after the last regional. Oh my gosh, I wish, you guys were closer. And she's like, well, you can move down there. I'm like, oh, I hate moving. I'm not doing that. And she's like, well, you can, host it yourself. And I'm like, okay, cool. So before we even got off the phone, we scheduled a date. And it was about 4 to 6 weeks out. It was right before Thanksgiving. So I hosted a healthy holiday brunch in my home. And I did literally what Lisa just said. I did a Facebook page. The only thing I did not do is email, because people tend to not read their emails, but I personally invited people. I messaged people. I talked to all my coaches that are within 2 to 3 hours from me, as well as my clients, and invited them to bring people. I brought, invited my neighbors, because I'm in somewhat of a new part of our neighborhood. So invited my neighbors, and we had I think it was about 12, 13 people that came, and we had fueling samplings. All of my coaches brought a lean and green type of a hors d'oeuvre or a dish. And we had 3 people share. We shared on healthy mind, healthy body, very similar to what we did this past Saturday: healthy mind, healthy body, healthy finances, and just the mission of the company. And from that, one of my neighbors actually became a client. And then also two of my clients have committed, they're not yet, but have committed to becoming coaches. So I think the power of just, I think that what happens in not even so much just the sharing, but what happens in those small conversations, one-on-one conversations. Lauren and her mom came down to just kind of support me and kind of co-lead it with me. And it was really beautiful and impactful because people open up in those small groups where they won't so much in larger groups. And so as I said to you this weekend, I plan on doing more of that and even traveling up to some of my clients in DC and doing in those areas as well. So very impactful.
That's so good. So good. I was glad to see you just jump into that. The pictures were great. You shared pictures on social media. All of that just makes such an impact because people are craving community. So thank you. All right, let me show you real quick this checklist that is available for you. I will be posting this, but basically, if you choose to do one, these are just some ideas. You get to choose what you would want to do, what would feel good, a coffee chat. Most of the ones I did during the day at my house. So you pick your day, your time. Would encourage you to work with your business mentor or, the executive director or FIBIC in your line, set a goal for how many you'd like to attend. And then we just kind of have step by step, like, all right, make the list. Who are we going to invite? How do we begin the invite process? Let's determine what kind of food. We're all about keeping this super simple. Paper products, and then basically visualize, what it's going to feel like. And we actually have kind of an agenda of what it would look like. But really, the less formal, the better. And then just kind of what to do the day before and what to do the day after. So kind of drop a 2 in the chat if you think that tool is going to be helpful for you. That was something we thought was real important to kind of give you some structure to be able to work with. So Julie Apple, if you could pop on for a minute and share, over the years, you've done a lot of different things to build community in the Charlotte area.
Hey, yeah. And it's interesting when Dee asked me to share. It's funny because when I first started coaching, I was single, had a lot of flexibility and a lot of freedom. And so I just planned events like crazy because I loved the community and I loved being able to have everybody together and just like the others have shared, like that connection face to face. I just love that. But what 2 years ago, I had a baby and COVID started. So we haven't planned many events. And it's been like kind of terrifying to think, to me anyway, planning events. I don't know if you're nervous like me, but it kind of got me nervous. Put a 3 if you're like, I'm not sure about that, planning or being in one. So I kind of decided I'm going to hold off right now. But what has been fun is I finally okay, my baby does not need me 24/7, so I can be planning these things again. So what we did last year is I just organized it for coaches and we did a walk and that was great. It was just in one of our coaches' neighborhoods, we got together and walked. So I think that's one way that if you're a little nervous, be outside is a great way to start. So get a few clients together, a few coaches and go outside and just go for a walk. And it's powerful when you can talk and walk at the same time. The other thing, we're doing a dinner for coaches this week at a restaurant that we can just kind of be casual and keep our distance if we want, but we'll be in a circle. And then what we're going to try to plan is maybe like we've talked a lean and green, like picnic outside and do that in the Charlotte area. That way people that are a little timid or hesitant to be together can still be outside. So we'll try to do that when it warms up, but I will share a couple other things that I did a few years ago that were really successful. If you want to be thinking bigger for your team or for coaches or clients in your area, we did a Whole Foods had a community room and they let us use that community room. And that really was neat for everybody to get together. So if you can think about some local places near you, they don't necessarily promote like sales and we didn't do it like sales because we're not, so it was, I didn't feel like any, like, oh, we're doing some hidden agenda thing. It was, we're sitting here face to face talking with people. So if you have a local coffee shop or even a Whole Foods, you can ask them, hey, can I meet with some of my friends? And we have like, just a time to talk and get together and they will let you use their community room. So that was a really good way to get together. And then Wendy, one of our coaches in Charlotte, she allowed us to use her home and we did a lean and green party. And that was great because everybody loved bringing their own yummy meal and sharing. And we did that a couple times actually. And then my background's personal training. So I actually planned some personal training group fitness workouts. So if you know any personal trainers or friends, one, it's a great way to connect with a coach or a personal trainer to offer them coaching, but they may be willing to partner with you and lead a workout. So if you have any interest in the fitness side, maybe you want to find a partner that can help lead a workout with you, and you can invite your clients and do it all together as a team. So those are just some different ideas and things I've done over the years. So I hope that helps.
Really good, Julie. And I'm so glad you made the point. You know, we are very sensitive to everybody has different experiences and comfort with what's going on in the world right now. So do with what you're comfortable with. And I love the idea of getting outdoors, doing something like that. Whatever works for you is a-okay. A-okay. So one last real quick share. We've had so many people on this call who've done events. I know Zena has done some stuff. Debbie Pasco has done stuff. Gina has done stuff. I'd love to have everybody share. I know also Michelle Labby up in Maine did a barbecue last summer. So if you could share for a minute, and then we're going to have Meg Johnson come on and share something with us at the end.
Great. Thanks. This is all great stuff. And yeah, I wish we could do more outside things, but it's like -20 degrees out mostly right now, here where we're at, but it's crazy. But we did our first outside event actually at my house. I just am blessed to live on a lake. And so we had this Lean and Green barbecue. I must have invited 200 people, just like you were saying, Lisa. I mean, I invited everybody and their brother. We had a flyer that everybody sent out electronically. We did all kinds of follow-up. And we had about 26 people and their children show up to that event. And it was really wonderful. And what I loved the most out of it was those individual conversations. We did not like have a gathering because it was a little crazy. We had kids there and everybody's playing games and stuff. But out of that, we had these really intense little snippets of conversations where people really got to hear our stories just one-on-one. And out of that, Sue Morneau, who I don't know if she's on the call tonight, but she and her husband were there, and Bill Hart talked to him. And he was like, oh my gosh, if he can do this, so can I. And now they both are on program and she became a coach. So, I mean, it's the power of that community is really, really important. So we're definitely planning on more. We've done quite a few on Zoom as a community up here because there has been quite a bit of the vid out and people negotiating that. But we also had like a online ugly sweater party right before the holidays. And one of the women who came is going to become a coach in next week. So I'm really excited about just these intimate events, be they virtual or be they in person, can really can go a long way.
Oh, such good points, Michelle. And I love that you just made that a family event. Like, let's just get together, right? No formal script, no, feeling like you have to perform, but it was through that rubbing shoulders that stories were shared that actually helped move somebody to their next place. And that always happens, always is as an outcome of it. All right, Meg, are you out there? Can you pop on for a minute?
Yes. Hey guys, man, this has been an incredible call. If the idea of being somehow a part of a local event in your area is interesting to you, or you might be scared, but you think it sounds kind of cool, would you post in the chat me, just the word me? If you think, man, having a local event that I'm a part of, man, look at all these me's coming through. Wow, I love it. Man, y'all are so fired up for this, just like I am, and so many of us are. I am so excited. Okay, well, that's really great news, because on this Monday night, I've got a double dog dare for you. Are you ready? Now, you know what they say about a double dog dare. You got to do it, right? So we've been talking, and so we want to challenge you to consider hosting a local event on the weekend of February 11th. And be really cool if it was on Friday, February 11th. And so we know that magic happens when we get together in our community, right? And small groups are really where it's at. So I want to challenge you to reach out to your ED or your team, or maybe even we're going to do a post in Coaches Up for Change so that people in New England, I saw somebody ask that, can find each other, so you can find people in your area. But we want to challenge you to get outside of your comfort zone and host an event. Utilize the great resources that we put together for you in that checklist. It's going to be awesome. And I'm thinking that a couple of you, I don't know, maybe one or two of you might be feeling a little scared. You might be fallen into maybe some fear or whatever. So I'm just going to give you this quote. It's one of the quotes we used this last weekend at our event. And just know, if you have a little bit of fear, that is okay. That is okay. But what do we do in Optavia? What did you do before you got started on our incredible plan? Or even as a coach, right? We push into the fear because there's freedom on the other side. And more than freedom on the other side for other people, you're going to get a boost of self-confidence because you're going to see how simple and fun it is to do and be a part of local events. Okay, so here's the quote for you. I don't know about you. Seriously, I don't know about you, but I'd much rather say, I can't believe I did that, than I wish I had done that. So if there is a part of you that wants to see what the buzz is about these local events, I just recommend that you jump in. Also recommend at your event that you have a way for people to sign up to join your newsletter and for people to sign up to ask for a free health call. Maybe you give them some tips, turns into a health assessment. How cool would that be? It doesn't need to be a big production. You don't need a PowerPoint. It's just about connecting with your heart and their heart and making it really simple. Simple is good. Our main goal here is fun and community. So wanted to show you too, as I wrap up, we put together some images for you. So Dee, if you'd let me screen share. You already did, of course. Okay, so here's some of the images. There's 4. And so here's one of them. I love that these are actual clients on our team. Look down here, we've got Connie and Jennifer there. So you can call it a health and hope night. You can also call it love yourself to health if you want to. This one's kind of cool. It has the 2/11, the Friday night date on it. You will have, all of these are editable. So there's a link where you can download them all if you would like. And here's one that's just blank. You can use word swag or whatever you want to add your own information. See, we've got Dee and Larry in here. How cool is that? And then here's one as well that has a blank where you could insert your own information. So there's 4 different formats that you can utilize. We got excited. We're excited just thinking about what's possible and what's going to happen in your community. And Dee, you have an exciting announcement, don't you?
I do. So gosh, I'm so I've got goosebumps because of how excited you guys are about this, because this is our mission, you guys. We want to build community, and it's boots on the ground, right? That's how it's done in our neighborhoods. So we've got 63 people on this. Let's say half of us did it. And for kicks and giggles, we each had 3 to 4 people show up. That would be 100 people that would be exposed to Optavia on February 11th that may or may not know anything about it or know about their next step, et cetera. So that's being really conservative. So we could just take that on, but I just want you to see that you could be a part of something bigger. And just like Meg said, if that fear is there, don't let the, oh, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I want people to have in my house. I think my house is too small. I think my house is not nice enough. It doesn't matter, any of that. And don't let the I get in the way of who could be helped through this. We always talk about that. So what we thought would be really fun is this, as we close it out. And I do want to encourage you to be on the coach call tonight, the national coach call. They're going to talk about the power of events and how to invite for events. But if for everybody who chooses to do one anywhere in that vicinity of that weekend, if you've got something the weekend before or after, we recognize that that's fine. You can be included in this, but we are going to put everybody who hosts an event, we're going to put your name in a drawing, and we are going to give you whoever's name gets pulled, a free registration to the 2022 National Convention in July. So that is super fun. So we're excited about that. So thank you to everybody who shared tonight. Thank you for your enthusiasm and passion for spreading in our community and spreading this mission. And I will see you. We got the coach call and the client call coming up next. So thanks. Look in Coaches Out for Change for all the details on this. Thanks, everybody.